General?
Yes,
White, yes.
I'm using it.
Okay. And that's who, Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Okay. You have, when we come up, you have 5 minutes. We are missing Vice Mayor Cardy, who's, for personal reasons, will not be here today. So we're going to run with a quorum of 4. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Simple.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our scripture for today is from Ephesians. Put on the armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. In the whole Bible, it tells us many times about how God has used people that were really not good people, bad people, to convert over to do His will. One, of course, was Paul, who was harassing Christians, even killing some. David, a little shepherd boy, God used to whoop Goliath and became probably the greatest king of all time. Moses was a slave that stuttered, and of course, look what happened with him. Even the disciples that Jesus picked to follow him probably would not be picked today. They were kind of a motley crew. I heard an old preacher say one time they were kind of early day rednecks there, so maybe that's where they came from. We don't hear much in modern times, though, about God using people to change over to do things. But it happens very, very rarely. In modern times, I'm thinking of a man probably about 80 years ago. On December 7th, 1941, when the Japanese did a sneak attack on Pearl Harbor, it was led by a naval officer and Commander Mitsui Fujiada. I worried about that when I was getting this together. That I mispronounced his name, but I figured any of y'all know this anyhow. So we're going to go with Fujiada. His attack was such a success that he became a national hero in Japan. He even got a personal audience with Emperor Hirohito. After this, he led attacks on Australian and British forces in the Pacific. And then up to the time of the biggest battle of the war, it was a turning point in the whole war, the naval war, the Battle of Midway. And the Japanese lost 4 carriers and almost all of their planes. So this was the Air Force, the Japanese Air Force was hardly any factor at all the rest of the time. But Fujiada missed being in this battle because he was on one of the carriers that was sunk. But he had a sudden attack of appendicitis. So they did an emergency surgery on him appendectomy. And then when our planes bombed the carrier, well, he had to jump off of the deck to the lifeboat to escape and broke both his ankles. So this was it for him as far as fighting the war, but he spent the rest of the war as a staff officer in Japan. And when we dropped the first bomb on Hiroshima, well, he was sent out with a group of people to assess the damage. And while they was there, the entire group that he was with, except for him, developed radiation poisoning, and they all died. This was probably the first clue to him that God was looking at this old boy. They had plans for him. But later on then, at a court-martial trial for war criminals, he was testifying there, and he saw that what was going on. He thought, well, hey, you know, the United States treats their prisoners just like we do ours, kind of cruel. But he ran into one of his former friends and colleagues in the Air Force that told him it was a prisoner of war. He told him, this is not right. They treated me very kind, with great dignity. He told about one particular American nurse that was especially kind, And she had told them that the Japanese soldiers had murdered her missionary parents in the Philippines. So Fujita could not understand it. How could someone be kind like this? He was the code in Japan at the time. Bushido code demanded revenge, and so he could not understand this. And this was kind of the next step in his conversion to Christianity. Later, he was given a pamphlet about the life of Jacob the Chaser, who was a crew member on the Doolittle raids that went over Japan. He was shot down. He was in prison, tortured, all through the war, and here he found God also. And he later met, the two men met, and Fujita was so impressed with this that he kept asking more and more about his religion. So the American took him home with him to visit America. And long story short, while he was here, he converted to Christianity, he became a pastor. He traveled all over the United States as an evangelist at this time. Which also goes to prove that, what's the old saying? God doesn't call the qualified, but he qualifies the called. If you bow your heads, please. Lord, we thank you that you can take the most unlikely of us and turn some of us into mighty warriors for you. We ask you, guide President Joe, Governor Roy, Barry, our mayor, Bob, our council manager, and we ask that you bless and protect our law enforcement, EMTs, and firefighters, and all who protect us. And we ask you to continue to bless the United States of America and Beach Mountain. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance.
Thank you, Cyclone.
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What up, Sean? Mayor, I've asked our Parks and Rec Director, Sean Royal, to come up and speak about what we have going on in October in the fall. Parks and Rec is very busy. And it also gives me an opportunity to congratulate Sean. He has a new baby at home, new son. And he looks a little tired.
I may or may not be on my second energy drink today, so we're making it through. But Bob asked me to come in, and this is also a platform for me to one, promote our events, but also to really say thank you to my staff. They have stepped in immensely as I've been out for a few weeks. They've been working a lot of hours, weekends, and events, and we're a little short staffed, so I really appreciate them, indoors and outdoor staff. They've just been busting tail, and it's really cool to see everybody working together. So I appreciate all of them. So as Bob said, we have a very busy month. October it's just kind of the kickoff to all the holidays, and we have a lot of fun with it. Kelly, you've helped with Halloween many times, so we hope to see you again. We've got a big thing planned again this year. So I was going over all of our events. In 33 days, and I'm counting 2 days of September, 33 days we have 17 events. And this is put on by 2 people basically. So if you didn't know, we have a new person in our program coordinator position, Matt Robinson, and he stepped in right at summertime. So his first week was almost summer camp. But Matt stepped in, grabbed the job by the horns, and took off. So he's doing really well. And he's planned all these events. So, you know, we're guiding him through, but at the same time, he's doing a really good job and he's taking forward. So we've got a few events that are weekly. Something new is it's called Chef Up, and we have a lady from Avery County Cooperative Extension, and it's a free event. She's coming out and doing little cooking classes, and all of these have been sold out. They're very well attended. So 20 people at each of them, and it's going really well. People are having a lot of fun with it, and so we hope this will be a nice, opportunity for us to kind of step into doing some nutrition classes. This is a way for us to kind of get our foot in the door, if you will. We did a coffee clutch. This was just a fun way for Matt to kind of bring in and make some fun coffee drinks with everybody. Again, get them into the season with orange spice and pumpkin spice. It's fun. So we've had craft nights. We had a sip and paint last week, which was sold out. This weekend, if anybody's interested, we still have a few spots for the 11 o'clock. We have a wine hayride. So if you people like to ride on a wagon and drink some wine, that's we'll take you down to the Level Winery. You get a tour of the winery, samples there, and then we bring you back. So that one, 1 o'clock is just about sold out. So you might want to call us soon if you want to go on either one of those. Our fall festival was this past Saturday, and this went over really well. We had a chainsaw artist. He was there, just fun games, and we had about 300 people at this event. So it was very well attended. It's wonderful weather, so you can't beat that. We've got, of course, the week of Halloween. That's always the fun for us. Pumpkin carving, pickleball paddle battle. Then, of course, our big one is the haunted trail and just the trail retreat. So all the businesses in town take part in this, and we're welcome to anybody who would like to set up a table. Call us. We'll give you a spot. Come. The kids have a great time. It's always well attended. If it's very cold, I'm sorry, but it's always a lot of fun. And then on October 31st, we have our haunted trivia night. So that one's a lot of fun too, just to kind of get out. A lot of these are BYOB, and we'll have some finger foods, just good fun times. If you're wondering about any of the dates and the times, of course, follow us on Facebook. Give us a call. There was a board out here that had everything on it, and it was just overloaded. So I think that's my boss should come up here. One event that it was kind of a kickoff early September. We just wanted to try something new, so we called it Pack the Park. So we tried to get people into Shane Park. We had a movie night and tried to fill up all the campsites. And the movie part of it was very well attended. Some people weren't there for camping, but we did have one family never camped before, and they came out and did it. So that was really fun to see them and their daughter just take part. So that's what all this is about, is reaching out to the community. We want people involved. We want you to help volunteer if you like, come to the events, have some fun. If you have suggestions of things you haven't seen us do, reach out to us. We want to do all the things that we can. So like I said, 17 and 33 days is a pretty good amount. Not too long after, as we get into November, we'll have our holiday market, so the weekend after Thanksgiving. That one's always a very well attended. I think we've got 35, 40 vendors signed up for that already. So it's a good way to kick off the Christmas season, and as soon as fall is over, we'll be into Christmas. So that is all I had.
Sean, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
What's the cooking class? That and nutrition's been, seems like that concept's taken off. What was the age groups that were involved in the cooking class?
So it'll take a little explanation. The lady who's leading it, this is a grant provided from the state. So it has to be free, but it's geared towards children. But the way we're kind of swinging it is we're saying, oh, well, you can do this with your grandkids or your kids. And so that's where a lot of the adults are coming in. It's open to any age, but she really wants to have kids. She actually came during our summer camp and did a spooky meal, and she created brains and all this fun stuff that kids got to put their hands in. And so they had a lot of fun with it, and that's where it kind of sparked us to say, hey, would you be interested in coming back in the fall and running some adult programs? And just absolutely. So she's really worked out well for us. I hope we can keep doing this.
And you said about 3 times that you guys were sold out. Hopefully you're making some money off this.
Yes.
You know,
No. We do charge. Some things are still free, but some things we're charging.
And are you running the fall hikes, the volunteer hikes?
We are, yes. Sorry, that was one of them. So we did a yoga hike, and we also have our tree ID hike. So our color, those are every Friday. So let's see, like I said, so this week is the 14th, and then we'll be on the 21st and 28th. 10 a.m. meet at the rec center, and Lauren will take you out on a different trail. And I don't know if you looked outside, but these are awesome. So those are really good. So anytime we can get people, we haven't had our volunteer trail program. That had been a little hiatus for a little bit, but I'm hoping to get Matt into the certified environmental educator, and then we can bring that back.
Perfect.
Sean, I have a question. The cooking class, are you saying it's geared towards kids?
The chef class? No, it's geared towards adults. I mean, it's all adults that are attending. Yeah, don't worry, you're not the only adult there too. No, but she was trying to take it and like I said, it was a grant, and that's sort of the way it's going, but no, it's all adults come. Yeah. But appreciate to have everybody out, come volunteer and have some fun with us.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay, public comments. I've got Robert Holt. Robert? You've got 5 minutes, sir.
First of all, thank you for your service and thank you for this opportunity to speak. I hadn't included in my comments, but I am familiar with many of the recreation programs and taking advantage of them. They do an excellent job. So I'm glad to hear those comments and being recognized. But again, my name's Robert Hyde. I live at 3441 Beach Mountain Parkway. My wife and I, we've owned a condo and Contesta development there for about 4 years now. I haven't met all of you, but I have spoken to a couple of you, introduced myself. I've been to a couple of these meetings, and I did share emails with most of you, I think all of you, and the manager back last year when you're going through the issue with the dumpsters and the garbage, and expressed my concerns and still have many concerns. I hope I'm proved wrong, but I still don't know that that was the best decision for the town. What was done, but it's done. We move forward. The item I really wanted to talk with you about was a more recent event was the adoption of your budget. Wasn't able to come for out traveling when the budget was originally talked about in the April and May timeframe, but was here at the July meeting and heard comments at that point in time. Just to recall the major focus of the budget, at least from my perspective, and I think for a lot of the property owners in Beach Mountain, but I'm only speaking for me, but we had a significant tax rate, effective tax rate increase. I know what the tax rate was, I know what it is now, and I think all of us in this room know what the difference, I'm talking about effective tax rate. With the revaluation and everything else, the tax rate went up 27.5 cents, at least by my calculations, so 67%. What does that mean for me as a property owner since I got my tax bill? That's a little over $1,100, about 112% increase. I say that with some perspective. I've worked in many local governments all across North Carolina, spent my career there, been 40-some years into local government. I don't think I've ever seen a local government budget that went up 27 cents in 1 year. Just don't recall, not saying it hadn't happened, but I just don't recall something of that magnitude happening. And I've been through when inflation was 18%. I've been through when the Great Recession. I've been through when revenue sharing was stopped. I've been through when the inventory tax was ended. I mean, 9/11, all these outside events that affect local governments and the budgets they have. All of them significant, had control over, but just hadn't seen anything quite like that. I say that and was heartened at the July meeting when I heard some of the board members reflect on that tax increase and what they had heard not only from the public address, but also I'm sure from many property owners that reached out to them that you're going to take a look at that issue. Even the comment was made, could we go back and revisit? I don't know how serious that was, but the comment was made, and I think your attorney, and rightly so, told them that the general statutes didn't allow you to do that. And so once you said it, you're stuck with it for good or for bad. And so, but there's also comments then we're going to look at next year. So that was heartening that you are. But my concern is, and my question to the board, has that process begun? Because as you know, budgets, even though you approve them at one point in time for each year, there's a continuum. And a lot of what decisions you get to make in your budget, some of them's already been made for you by the years forward. Maybe been this council, maybe been previous councils that made them. Salaries, debt service, contracts you enter into, all those things And so sometimes you're somewhat limited in what you can make decisions on. So my concern, and I really haven't seen anything that the board has addressed or talked about since that July meeting, is what actions, or are there any actions, maybe they are behind the scenes that the management is looking at to look at this year's budget to help put you in a better position for next year. Again, at the end of the day, my concern is that work's going on now, and that next year, when it does become budget time, that's not where you start. Because this year there will have been expenditures and things done that, again, will set in motion what you have to do next year. So, again, I'm not expecting an answer. I just don't want this to be forgotten. And then next year, when it comes budget time, all of a sudden there's another, the rate still stays the same, or worse yet, there's another increase in there. So, thank you again for your time, and I appreciate your service and allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Mitch? Give your name and address.
Mitch Muley, 3441 Contesca, where I speak as a taxpayer and a homeowner. Again, I'll agree with Mr. Hyatt. You know, we've talked about this on and on and on about the taxes and how much they went. Matter of fact, I just picked up my tax bill before I came into the council meeting, because mine gets mailed and I haven't received it, and it's quite a shock when you look at that one plus the Avery County one that went up as well. So it is quite a lot. I will say this: people complain about taxes, and my taxes here are more than waterfront property in the state of Florida, and that's pretty. I never thought I'd ever say that, because they surely weren't when I moved here 2 years ago. But I'll say that, and I'll agree with Mr. Hyde. I hope you look at it again. I hope you understand. I went to the meeting, the town meeting that we had in Buckeye last week about the water issues and the $30 million that it's going to cost to fix the water. And I wonder where all that money is going to come from. And and even though we have, Mr. Putney did say they're hoping to get some grants and things, and they have $5 million. That's still well short of $30 million. So I'm very concerned about that, and concerned about, the livelihood of this mountain. I'll say briefly about the ordinance that you all are going to look at today about the entertainment. Understand that you're going to grandfather people in, and I hope people understand that we're not against entertainment. We really aren't. Entertainment's fun. People like to come and like to enjoy it. That's what resort towns do. We just don't want to see it become a Pigeon Forge or Dollywood or Myrtle Beach. We want to see the peace of this mountain. You look at, when you drive down the mountain now, you look at all the beautiful fall foliage, and you know why people come to Beach Mountain. It is that pretty. I doubt seriously people come to ride a roller coaster or whatever. It's just something to do. So when you look at this ordinance today, I hope you'll understand that we're not against entertainment. We're just against expanding it out to where it's just uncontrollable. And people just keep adding more and more and more. And before we know it, we'll have, instead of calling it the London Eye, we'll have the Beach Mountain Eye. And that's not something I think this council or the people who live here really, really want. So again, I'll ask this council, we understand that you're going to grandfather people in to keep what they have, but not to increase it and make it more prolific to those around us. And appreciate the time and effort. And I thought the meeting the other night was well explained. Mr. Putney did a good job in explaining all of the problems that we're going to face, and we're going to face some problems. And I think this council knows that, and I think people who live here should know that. And if you haven't picked up your tax bill, you need to, because I think when you see it, you're not going to be real happy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, I need to adopt the consent agenda.
Motion? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to open the public hearing on amusement.
Make a motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mrs. Bernstein, you want to talk on that?
Good morning, Lynn Bernstein, or afternoon, 304 Lake Ledge Road. And I just wanted to also back up what Mitch just said. that there is a great importance that you all establish guidelines so that existing businesses that will be grandfathered in know what the parameters are for their future and what their expansion abilities may be or may not be, so that as we move forward, we are in control of our area and our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wants to speak on the public hearing? Okay, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I need a motion on the amendment to outdoor amusement and recreation zoning text.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman, as part of your discussion, one point to correct and strike, we have the words sold or acquired under the scope language. Any pre-existing use would be vested to a potential buyer as those run with the land. So if you do take action upon this, if you would strike the words sold or acquired from your proposed ordinance.
What page is that?
It runs with the scope. I have it on page 38 of the packet as well as page 48. But it is under the section that's marked scope.
Okay.
And that would be a recognition of vested rights running with the land as opposed to a particular owner.
Okay, C, number, C on page 38.
Okay.
So we're striking that. What part?
Those two words, sold or acquired.
Mayor, if I might, because this was kind of convoluted, we've given you the original report that was sent to the planning board. We've then given you the planning board's changes they're in red with strikeouts through them. And then we produced for you on page 44 a draft ordinance that reflects the planning board's changes. Should you so desire to approve that tonight, beginning on page 44 of your agenda is the actual ordinance that we would ask you to consider. So that language,
Has been taken out?
no, we need to strike that from this language as well.
Mr. Mayor, I have that from page 48, 51, and 53.
Correct. So Mayor, assuming council wanted to move forward on the planning board's recommendations, the ordinance beginning on page 44 with those strikeouts, we would suggest that that be voted upon, yes or no.
So item C would be completely removed?
No, just the words sold or acquired.
Or acquired. The second paragraph on C. Look at C,
Gotcha.
sold or acquired. And on what, the other page?
51. And 53?
Yes.
Correct.
Altered, sold and acquired.
Shown on this screen.
Sure.
And what's the other, 53?
53.
Sold,
Down the bottom.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
you got that?
Gotcha.
Strike it from your,
So it's the same language on all three.
so noted. Okay, with the amendment, stricken from the report, I need a vote on the amendment.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So what, you need individual or that's good enough?
Yes, sir. Is that a unanimous vote of the council?
Not enough vote.
Then, yes, sir. That's sufficient.
Is that sufficient?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just for the record, since Vice Mayor Cardy is not here, I'd like to have it on the record that he would have been a no vote if he would have been here. So just wanted the report to reflect that. Is that all right? Okay, new business. Appointee for the Watauga Economic Commission. I've been volunteered. So I need a motion to accept my nomination.
Motion.
Then I. All right. Did I leave one motion out?
10.2, Mayor.
A1?
10.2.
I need 10.2. I need a
Yeah, I
motion
know
to
that, but
go.
as
I'm
far as
sorry.
the recreation amendments, did we vote on both of them?
The what?
8-1 and 9-1?
8-1 was your public hearing, sir, so that did not require a separate vote, so you
Okay.
did vote on 9-1.
9-1.
Okay,
So we've adopted.
we've adopted.
Okay. Hang on.
Grassy Gap Sewer Shed Study, that I understand is a grant.
That is a grant. That was that was the $400,000 grant we got from the state. One of the requirements of that grant is that we go out for a RFQ, request for qualifications for an engineering firm. We ask that you approve this, and we'll advertise it tomorrow and have you approve it at the next meeting.
Okay, need a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town manager staff report?
Mayor and council, a number of things. You may have noticed Tamara's out today due to a death in her immediate family, and Kelsey is pitch hitting for us and assisted in getting our agenda out. Tamara's mother passed away unexpectedly, and she had to leave. And so I walked down the hall and asked Kelsey to help, and she and Riley have not only got the TV going, but got our agenda out.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thank
Kate.
you, Ellie.
Well done.
Kate Gervais' father also passed away last week. Services are Friday, and I would just ask that we all keep both families in their thoughts and prayers. The Genesis lease, we received a letter from the Genesis group desiring to terminate the lease, and they turned in the keys to the property to us. The town is in the process of trying to formalize that termination. As you know, the history of Genesis in the town, we want to make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's. That lease is recorded, and so we want to make sure that we get the appropriate documentation. I believe that will occur. And then the town will go in and clean up and make that site safe. There's a number of unsafe issues there which precipitated this. So soon we'll have that site cleaned up. The pay plan study by the MAPS group is well underway. Data is being collected. We've met with the consultants on a number of occasions. They have met with all the employees. They're doing a review of our personnel policies and our job descriptions, and each employee has been filling out a survey on what they see their job is and what they do for the town. I expect to have this report to you by the end of January prior to budget, so that you'll have it plenty of time to review. We'll have a presentation by the MAPS group to you, so you'll have an opportunity to ask questions of the methodology, the comparisons, and whatever their recommendations are, which I certainly don't know at this point, but you'll see that. We're working to get that done.
Chief, do you know what this study approximately cost?
No.
Okay.
I think approximately,
That's all
but I'm
right.
not gonna say.
That's
I'd
all
have
right.
to ask Steve.
Okay.
I'll get that to you, and I'll report at the next meeting. I just don't want to throw a
Sure.
number out.
I respect that.
The DOT paving on the parkway is 99% complete. The town attorney can tell you that they're finishing up on the front side of the mountain with some ditch paving. I did want to make another announcement to the public that the town did not fund any of this work. as been reported in the past. This was 100% funded by the DOT. They are responsible for it. Pavement looks great. We like the reflectors, the paint, and they're finishing up the ditch work now.
That one curve going around up by Cats, that kind of washed out a little bit, is the DOT gonna come back and,
If they don't,
Fix
we
that
will.
part, or- okay.
Yeah, but they're doing ditch work now. The problem is that that's a contractor. It's not the actual DOT employees. So we're hesitant, I'm very hesitant to do anything. There's broken asphalt that's been pushed to the side by Wegling Way. We've been asked to pick it up. I will if they don't, but the contract should be completed by October 16th is their timeline. And if they don't fix those ruts, we will to keep the road safe. As you've heard, the tax bills have been mailed. We're answering calls on a daily basis from the public regarding predominantly the property valuation. And as you know, this is a county function of both Watauga and Avery County. Our tax bills were a little late because Watauga County had difficulty getting the correct scroll to us. But that's out, and we're answering those questions from our taxpayers every day. The Lake Coffee Reservoir update. We had the town hall meeting on October 6th at Buckeye. I thought it went well, however, the attendance was sparse. I had wished there was a larger crowd. Mr. Cheatwood and Steve Smith are working to develop the recommendations and budget costs for the council to discuss. I do want to reiterate, mostly for the public's perspective, that we do not plan to issue any debt or enter in any contracts until at least 2024-25. It's going to take that long to get our permitting and put all the funding in place. The reason we're starting now is because this is a long process, and we want to make sure that we've got everything planned appropriately and our financing in place. A meeting was held day before yesterday, Friday, with the state regarding the project. We received positive feedback from all that attended. The state appears to be in support, at least they said they were, of the project, and we're currently dialing in on the specifics for the design. So our engineer, Benji Thomas from West Consultant, I don't know why it's West Consultant when Benji Thomas owns it, but it is. He felt very good about the response we got back from the entities in the state, and we'll be moving forward on that.
Chief, since if the state is supportive of this project, would it make the grant process any easier with their blessing?
Absolutely. If they're not supportive, we won't get any grants. Most of the money that we're asking for is from the state and from the federal government. All of those require state sign off and approval.
Well, let me rephrase my question. I'm sure if the state approves it or or supportive of it, that would help the funding. But what about from a federal level? What kind of influence does the state supporting this have from the federal level?
Well, tremendous. If we don't have state support, we can't get federal monies. So the BRIC grant is an example. It had to go through the state. To get federal money, you almost, in every case, have to go through the state infrastructure to access that money. So we'll need state approval on anything we do before any grant is finally approved.
So do you have an idea where we came up short last time, where we didn't receive the grant?
Well, the reason we were told was that the project didn't meet the requirements of that particular FEMA grant. It was directed to less affluent communities and flood prevention, and it was a stretch on the flood prevention, and the federal government doesn't look at Beach Mountain, town of Beach Mountain as being, a distressed community. But we reapplied with some additional information, plus we applied again through another funding source through the state for the same amount of money.
Which was 15 million?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. The ambulance response time that I report to you each month is 8.16 minutes for the fiscal year since July 1st. That's going very well. I had a patient who may or may not have been questioning about the cost of the unit. They took advantage of they had a medical emergency, took advantage. I got an email that said, I don't care what it costs. It was unique, but it said, I don't care what it costs, it's worth every penny. So when you need the ambulance and it shows up within 8 minutes, you have a different perspective. We have a neighborhood meeting with the Ski Loft residents on the 18th here in Town Council to discuss the upcoming utility project. We sent letters out to all the property owners. We've received a number of calls asking questions. I believe that meeting will be well attended. We'll bring them up to speed on the beginnings of that project and what we've been discussing. So we're looking forward to meeting with the residents on Ski Loft. Our farmers market, the last of 3, was held on Friday the 7th. It was well attended with almost 30 vendors. The plan is to continue this next summer. Special thanks to Fred Foll and Sandy Carr for putting these events together. I mean, I showed up and it was pretty cool. The last thing is, this week is National Fire Prevention Week, so I'm going to change my helmet here. The motive this year is Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape. And I think that's appropriate here for Town of Beech Mountain with all the people who come in for a short period of time. I would just ask that everyone familiarize themselves with the building that they're renting or staying in and plan 2 ways out. Fire doesn't wait, and you need to plan your escape. So Mayor and Council, that's my report, unless you have some questions.
Anybody got any questions?
Was there a change at the convenience center with trash removal out of cars, or are we still at 2 employees there?
We are.
Or- Okay, I thought I'd heard we were moving out of 2 employees, or no?
No.
Okay.
We had 3. We discussed this, I think, at the last meeting, where the concern was there was 3 there on occasion, on days when we had overlap. We have gone to 2. Didn't lay anybody off. The 3rd person is being used elsewhere.
Okay.
When we have an overlap. The plan is to see how that works when we get busier. Obviously now 2 employees seem to handle the task well. I don't know that that's going to work when we get a busy period, a holiday weekend, something like that. We have the flexibility to bring that 3rd person in immediately and backfill if we need to. But we're trying the 2-person at the convenience center.
And that extra building that's now down at the recycling center is for, there's a new hut that's down.
Oh, that is for the attendant that we plan to have at the recycling shed to maintain that in bad weather.
Okay.
Mr. Abernathy, you volunteered. How did it work out
Volunteered?
to work at the convenience center? How did it work out for you?
I didn't volunteer. I made the suggestion we go from 3 to 2.
Oh, I heard you were gonna go there.
I could just,
Mr. Carter was there
I know.
working.
But I heard Mr. Abernathy was gonna go there too. Was it raining that you didn't go? Is that what it was?
no. I mean,
Well, if each
thank-
council member would take a shift, I could save some money in the budget.
I'm involved in manufacturing. Familiar with Kaizen? I can look at an application and tell very well how we can cut costs.
All right, town council comments. Kelly?
Nope, start, okay. Wanted to report that our local Stone at Oz was a big success. Thank you to the Leidy family. We raised over $1,000 for the, I always say it wrong, ambulance fund from Maryland. The whole point on the amusement thing is I would rather give us a reason, and I do 2 things in being here. I trust departments to do the right thing. And that's the whole reason we have boards and departments. And I trust when there's a 4-0 recommendation on this. I'd rather our town have the option to say no than to leave us open to whatever could happen. So that was my vote on yes to the amendments to the organization. Farmers Market was a great success. It's great to see us growing and adding that type of thing. And then I'm just looking forward to a positive woolly worm forecast. That's it.
Thank you. Do you have anything?
I want to sincerely thank council for doubling my taxes.
You're very much welcome.
And my phone's has rung nonstop, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think that with the significant amount of tax increase that we have, I want to challenge council that we've got to reverse this come January. We need to get very, very aggressive in lowering our millage rate and cutting costs. Other than that, that's it. Thank you for everyone attending the meeting today.
Scotty?
I'd like to first thank everybody for coming. It's really a good feeling to know that we have folks that are coming to the meetings and expressing interest and wanting to know what's happening and becoming involved. That's the whole point of us being here, is that people keep in contact with us to let us know how you feel, positive or negative. We want to hear all of it. I'd like to say a special thanks to Cyclone for always doing our invocations. But the reason I want to specially thank Cyclone is because he usually leaves sometime during the meeting. And so I haven't been able to formally thank him because he usually kind of slips out. Cyclone just doesn't do an invocation. Cyclone delights us with some history, always involves it and interweaves it with the scripture and the invocation, and always makes it very interesting. Dedicates and puts a lot of his time into it, which always makes it very enjoyable to hear. I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but I greatly appreciate it. Tries to incorporate it in with holidays, but it's always poised and it's always done well thought out. So thank you, Cyclone, for always taking the time to make it special for us and everybody here. It's a great way to start our meeting, along with the pledge. A special congratulations, besides Sean Royal, to Vice Mayor McCarty and Mackenzie for being proud parents of baby boy Jimmy. I know that, and everybody here that's been a parent or grandparent, worlds change, priorities change, and I know this is a real exciting time for him, and so thrilled to death knowing it. I'd like to congratulate Chief Putney, because when you look at everything that we get in these packets, which is also available for you guys to be able to look at online, can't emphasize that enough. We do take the time to look at these, when we receive these. We get our agendas right before the weekend of the meeting. When we do that, I can't speak for the rest of the council, but I'll tell you, I go over this multiple times, and if you can look at mine, I highlight it, I tab it, I color code it. It's probably the school teacher in me. I mean, I've got orange for fire, blue for police, but I also look at all the numbers. So just to give you this, this year's numbers of training hours, this does not involve COVID, is 476. That's training hours for the volunteer fire department versus last year 177. That's quite a bit of training from people that aren't getting paid. And these are folks that, if your house goes on fire, it sure is nice to know that they're putting in major man hours and a cohesive unit. I've heard other towns talk about how great our fire department is. I know that to be true. They're quick, they're on the spot, and when something happens, every single one of them that's a volunteer fire department person looks at their radio. And some people actually get up and leave the meeting. So, we're really lucky that we have what we have. You look at the numbers with the police department this month, and I'll just give you some examples. From last year to this year, last year is helping to direct with patrol, may or may not be DOT, but I know a lot of it has the growth, 255 up to 608 with our patrol, having to step up and do things. Just a couple of interesting things, breaking and entering, 10 last year, 29 this year. Domestic complaints, 12 to 20. The numbers are growing. It's because our numbers are growing. Things are getting larger. Another example, which sticks out like a sore thumb to me, when you look at all of the building permits, this calendar year to date is 271, compared to last year, 140. That's building permits. And you don't have to look at that when you drive down Pine Ridge and see not just the remodels, but everything that's being built brand new. And teaching exercise classes, it's the first time in 4 years, I just told Councilor Malang, I have 2 people that come to the yoga class from Eagles Nest. They're driving the back open road to come to the country club to exercise. So we're starting to see an influx of people that are now coming from that area and direction. So everything is growing. There's just a lot happening and a lot going on. So that was the reason for my vote today. I voted because I think way back when we first came on board as a council, we said that we want our town to grow. It is growing, whether it's because of COVID. People are discovering us now, and they're coming from all different directions to be here. But we have to grow Beach Mountain very cautiously. I agree with this gentleman right here. We don't need to have a pigeon forge up here. This is not Dollywood. So we have to be very, very careful. And we really didn't have anything in place. So now with this ordinance, we do have something in place so that we can cautiously be careful with our growth. Because it'll overtake us if we don't. Those of you that drive up to the convenience center to drop your garbage can't help but notice the beautiful streetscape lights that are right along there, that people that may live in Pinnacle or rent Pinnacle can walk down to Fred's or can walk down to the town. The lights are beautiful, very tasteful, fits in, everything is in order. And that's how we want to grow our town. We want it to look nice and everything. So that was the reason for my vote.
Your 5 minutes is up.
Yeah. Going through my notes, I'm good.
Let me turn my timer off. As far as the gentleman talked about the budget, we start in January, and we go through July. We'll probably have 3 or 4 meetings, and so you can watch it. You can get updates on our website, and we certainly do recommend comments on the budget. And you know, all of us are feeling the same pain as far as taxes are concerned. And it's something we'll all relook at and readdress at the next budget. But we've taken everybody's comments in consideration. And we'll certainly look at it and see if we can do a little better. Watauga didn't help us, that's for sure. With them raising the valuations, that didn't help, so we'll work on that. We also are looking for attendees on the different boards. We have, if you want to help participate in town business, we have different boards that are open positions. So if you'd like to volunteer, you can come into the town hall and fill out an application. We start appointing new people to different boards in December, and we certainly have a lot of openings. So if you'd like to volunteer, we certainly would appreciate it. I need a motion to go into closed session.
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the microphones are on.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So be it.
Thank you.
Thank you.